You leave corporate America and start a coffee company, roasting coffee.
I was there with Toyota, enjoyed my time there, but I had already kind of put a mental clock in my head that I was going to be exiting at a certain time. If you don't take control over your life and your time, someone else will allocate it for you. If I'm not promoted or at this next space by this time, I'm leaving. And it kind of went from there, and I launched on Facebook February 7th. 2 months later, we had been accepted into Target's program.
Joining me today is Jessica Taylor. She is the founder and CEO of Ezra Coffee Company, and she has quite the background. She spent 4 years in corporate America at Toyota. She has spent some time in higher education at Purdue, at Ohio State. She also, at the same time, I hope she'll answer this for me, but at the same time that she founded her coffee company, she also started a nonprofit. And that's one of the things that drew me to her and wanted me to have her on as a guest, because I think that cultural capitalism is such an important topic right now in our society. So help me welcome Jessica Taylor to my show.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. So I always start really with my first question for really every guest, because my show is really about strategic reinvention, whether it's personal, business, and I'm not sure there's really a difference in the two of those topics, but we've all had those moments where you are so far down in the ditch of life. And life kicks us all down in the ditch. And if you haven't, some people, maybe they haven't had those moments, but if they haven't, they haven't lived long enough.
Right.
But life kicks us down in the ditch. And we've all had the time when you're so far down in the ditch of life that you don't think you're going to see tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't mind, tell me about the time when you were so far down in the ditch, you didn't think you would see tomorrow, and how you crawled out.
Yeah, that would be June 7th, 2000 and, was this 2015.
Oh, wow.
At 6:36 p.m.
Oh, my
When
goodness.
my mother passed away. So I lost my mom early, in I turned 30, and like a month later, she was gone. And so I would say that was probably the lowest that I had ever been. And I'm a very faith-based person.
Yes.
And my father's a pastor. My grandmother was a mother of the church for like 40 years. So rearing heavily in faith. But not only was I in a low point, my faith was broken. And I would be very honest and say I was mad at God, because I'm like, this woman, she used to lead the food drives. She did the community breakfasts in our community, and she fed the homeless every year on New Year's Day. And she was a foster mate. She's done all the things. She did everything right. She was an original granola mom, right? So we were eating granola and stuff back and wasn't exciting. So she's, for the most part, very healthy. And for her to get sick, and not just get sick, but get sick with a terminal illness and go through a very ugly passing, I was angry. And I can be honest, a lot of people don't talk about that. Yeah, I was angry. But I think what kind of pulled me out of that was, I know that she would not want me to stay in that place.
Yeah.
She would always say, girl, you got a lot of life to live. She would always tell us, she said, life is not a dress rehearsal. She said, you're not going to get to do this again. This is your once time to do it right. So make sure that you look your best every time you step out the house.
Oh, I like
saying that in clothing, but also in your understanding,
right?
Putting off things. You don't have as much time as you think that you do, right? Like she was out of here at 66. So it wasn't that 63, excuse me. She wasn't that she was here for a very long time. And so I knew that she would not want me to sulk and sit in that space. But I also did give myself time. I grieved. I went to therapy. I did all the things that I needed to do to get to a better place. But I tell you, I think, that type of loss, you're forever altered. You're forever changed.
Having lost my mother, I don't think you ever get over the loss of your mother as a woman. Like I think there's always that hole. Now, it repairs itself and you learn to move on and live with the hole. But I think there's always a hole.
Yeah. And the thing too, there's my mom was the only child, so I don't have like any aunties on that side. So a lot of things you don't have. So it's like the excitement about having kids like my friends have. I'm kind of like, who's gonna watch my baby? All of those things that you thought about with your mom. But I think the most important thing is your latter point, your question is how do you pull yourself out of this?
Yeah.
Right? How do you get up out of this? And after I was done being mad, I started going back to church and doing other things. But it took I applaud myself for going through the process and being able to do it. But I will tell you, it's been 10 years and I'm pulling myself up every day.
Well,
Like,
I was going to ask you, I mean, do you think it's something that is almost a constancy of pulling yourself up?
absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing too is I'm the oldest. And so you're already, for most of us, we're already naturally hard on ourselves, right? It was your mom that was like, okay, now it's not that deep. It's not the end of the world. Let me, get up out of this. When you don't have that, you feel like you have to try to find that within other people, but nobody knows you kind of like your mom,
Yep.
right? So I think that you're in a constant space of healing, pulling, climbing, healing, pulling, climbing to get to where you need to be.
Yeah. For me, whenever my mom passed, kind of like you were saying, she was diagnosed with lung cancer. She was a 40-year smoker. And we
Mhm.
always thought my dad would pass first and
Yeah.
my mom would be around forever because she was so vibrant and active and everything. And she got diagnosed with lung cancer and within 7 months was gone. And I was mad at God. I was angry. It was so unfair. But at the same time, I felt like it was one of the most spiritual times for me because of kind of what I felt like was my job almost as a daughter. And I'm an only child, so I don't have siblings. So I was the only one. And my husband was there with me too. But I felt like it was my job as a daughter that I had to escort her right up and hand her over to St. Peter. And it was one of the hardest jobs that you have in life. But to me, I think it made my faith stronger, even though I was kind of mad at God, like it was kind of a both. But um, but I think in the reflection of it, it made my faith stronger because I did go through that. And I feel very comfortable in saying that I know exactly where she's at. She's up there watching over me every day, even though it's been gosh, how long has it been? 17? No, it's been almost 20 years, I guess. Um, and so it's been a long time, but I feel very comfortable in the fact that she's up there watching over me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. To
But
be
the
absent
hole
for the
didn't go
body is to be
away.
present with the Father, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we know.
Yeah, but I don't think the hole goes away. Like I still miss her. I still think of days where I wish
Every
I could pick
day.
up the phone and talk to her.
Yeah. It's about to be Thanksgiving and I can't cook anything. So I'm just like, okay, I just
You
have to
and me
figure
both.
I'm gonna have to go to a friend's house and figure this out because yeah, I don't know what to do.
You and me both. I'm like, man, I wish I could have her fried catfish right now.
Right, right, right.
So, how did you come to the idea of starting a coffee company? Like, you're over here working for Toyota Motor Company in corporate America, and you leave corporate America and start a coffee company, roasting coffee.
Well, I started during the pandemic. So I was there with Toyota, enjoyed my time there, but I had already kind of put a mental clock in my head that I was going to be exiting at a certain time. I'm one thing I learned about my mom is she said, if you don't take control over your life and your time, someone else will allocate it for you. Right. And so I had put in in my mind, if I'm not promoted or at this next space, by this time, I'm leaving, right? So I had already had that. And it just so happened that time just aligned with where the pandemic was. And so I'm at home with free time. And I'm like, oh, let me see what this is about. Um, and so I had it at a party. To be honest, I used to have parties every MLK day. You had to bring toiletries for the homeless, wear a woke t-shirt, like an affirmation shirt and all those things. And one of my friends said, you should sell this. And I was like, listen, the Lord didn't tell you to give me a job. Just enjoy what I made and move on because I had spiked it. And so I was like, I slept on it. It kept coming back. And I said, let me see. And I put on Facebook, who likes coffee? Send me your address. And it kind of went from there. And I launched on Facebook February 7th, 2021. We just put it out there. No big promo because I didn't have any money. And In June, 2 months later, we had been accepted into Target's program.
Oh,
And so I was
wow.
like, oh, girl, you gotta be serious. This is a business now. And so I was
This isn't
like,
this isn't a hobby anymore.
yeah, I was getting all my stuff together, hopping on LinkedIn because people have free time. Everybody wants a coffee chat. I'm hopping on LinkedIn, like, hey, I saw you started this. How did you do it? And just really trying to get my ducks in order prior to
Mhm.
the program starting because I didn't want to show up as like the new uninformed founder, right?
Yeah.
And so we went from there. And so that whole process, it went kind of fast, but it was what I needed because I kind of lack patience. And so if it had took a long time, I would eventually put it to the wayside and moved on to something else. So I'm glad that it happened at the speed that it did. It kept me on my toes. It kept me sharp. And, from me sending that, posting that post on Facebook to us launching on Facebook or social media to us being a target to us landing it, we landed in HEB within 16 months of all of
Yeah.
that. So
Wow.
we moved pretty fast.
Did you buy a coffee roaster? I mean, did you have a coffee roaster at home and we're just roasting some
Yeah,
coffee
so I
beans?
actually got on YouTube University and they had I was looking at people roasting it and they had these different little small roasters that they had ordered off Amazon. And so I ordered one off Amazon and then I saw one guy, I know this is gonna sound crazy, but it was the truth. He was doing his on a cast iron skillet.
Yes.
And I was like, I kind of like this just because I knew a cast iron because my grandmother used them all the time. I saw him a lot. I was like, let me try this and see like what he's doing. And it worked. And I was like, okay, this is different. But the thing about that is that's cool when you're doing something at home to try to taste, right? That's not something that you can do when you're
Yeah, you
trying to
can't
make.
do cast iron at scale.
Yeah, you can't. It's not going to be consistent.
Yeah.
You're not able to smother the smoke. It's a whole lot of things that you can't do. But it was enough to get me started. And then from there, I started looking for a roaster who could ensure that we had
Mm,
consistency, who would make sure that we had all the things that we need to be able to run this operation. So
yeah.
that's how we went there.
Yeah. So how did you come up with the idea for the name Ezra Coffee?
Yeah. So I knew I wanted something biblical and I knew or African. Those were the two things I wanted. But I didn't want anything like Jehoshaphat coffee or Hezekiah coffee. Like it's too long. People can't
Yeah.
spell it. They're gonna mix it up, whatever. And so I wanted something like those succinct and clean. And so I had three friends at the time who were all going through IVF. And I had a dream, and in the little dream, there was a little boy named Ezra. And so I called all my friends and I'm like, which one of you guys are pregnant? Because I just had a dream about this little boy's name's Ezra. And so they were like, girl, thank you for it's still we don't know yet. And so one of my coworkers, he had came back and he had just had a little boy. He didn't tell anybody the baby's name. His name was Ezra. I had the dream. So that's two people. Then I was having a really crappy week on a conference that I was at with Toyota. I left the conference and I was like, let me just get to church. I was going to the Potter's house in Dallas. And I got to church and Bishop Jake said, turn with me to an unfamiliar book in the Bible, the book of Ezra.
Oh,
So that was my third time hearing it. I still have my Bible from high school and I looked in the front of it and I read the story of Ezra and who he was. And the thing it said, he who helps. And I was like, that's what I want our thing to be about, is being able to help people. And so it worked.
I love that. Now, did you start the nonprofit at the same time or did that come a little later?
So funny story about that. So I started a nonprofit back in like 2010,
Oh,
2011, right?
before. Okay.
Yeah. And I realized that I was not great at raising money. It's not my forte. It's not my forte. I don't want to keep calling you, begging you, calling. I'm just not good at it, right? And one thing about people entrepreneur, you have to learn where your strengths are. And I kind of put that dream to the side. Then I went and I was working in higher education. That's when I saw that these students were having these gaps, right? So it kind of stuck with me because I was always spending my time hustling, trying to get stuff from my students, from my friends. So when I started Ezra, I knew that I wanted to have that philanthropic component. And so we carried it over. We just rebranded it and put it up under the business name. So it came out. We did our first scholarship in 2022. We started a business in 2021. So the next year.
Gotcha. So, but I love this combination of this cultural capitalism. And
Hmm.
I don't know if you know who Eddie Wilson is, but I interviewed him recently.
Okay.
And he's the owner of the Aspire Conference, the largest business conference
Yeah.
in America. And they combine those two ideas at the Aspire Conference, where they have a nonprofit motive with the conference. And I just love that. I mean, I think that's so impressive that you're doing it, and it's so meaningful that that you're at the same time giving back in a way that's meaningful to you and meaningful to these college students, but it kind of ties together, the purpose of your company. So that really impressed me whenever I heard you speak the other day.
Yeah, thank you. I think we have so many problems that we have in the society, right? And so when we're thinking about it, what is the one thing that God has positioned us to be able to address? And for me, working in higher ed, when you see these bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kids come to campus their freshman year, a lot of them first generation, the only thing you want to do is see them leave with their degree. You want them to leave with that same excitement. But I started to notice that some of these kids were leaving and they weren't leaving on good terms. I'm like, but you have good grades. You're not homesick. Why are you leaving? Oh, I have a hold on my account. Oh, I registered late. And so I have this. And so, like, those are small things that we can do. I used to have an insane amount of parking tickets. I just happened to have a grandmother who would pay for them so I could get those holes off of my account.
Yeah.
But you really don't know how blessed you are until you go sit somewhere else. And so
Right.
that's how we decided to come in and close that gap.
Yeah, no, I love that. I have another friend who, says that, her mission is to bring families together. Somebody
Hmm.
else's mission may be to save the whales, but that's not her mission. So you go
Exactly.
save the whales, I'm going to bring families together. And that really, when she told me that, that really impacted me, because my mission is to help women in transition, particularly transition from divorce. Um, and I love that your mission is different than my mission, but it's such a great mission, and that we all have our little corner of the universe that we can influence. And if each of us pick a corner, then we're going to cover it all,
Yep. Yep. And that's what I said. He's given all of us something, right? And we just have to focus on what he's placed on our hearts.
Exactly, exactly. And he knows what he's doing. He's got a whole grid
Yeah.
mapped out of all of us and
Right.
what corners we're all covering, right? Um,
Hmm.
so what's the hardest part about running a mission-driven company?
Having more need and mission. So I will say something that's it. You can't save them all. You can't help them all. You can't do the issue is always you're always going to have a larger need than you have mission for.
Yeah.
And so what we're looking to do going forward is to see who we can bring along the way, who wants to join us in this work that we're doing, whether it's through contributions and donations, whether it's through partnership, but who wants to be a part of this journey that this also speaks to your heart. When you say, you know what, let me just help someone else as opposed to building something, right? Like we have the infrastructure, just come along and just lend a hand. So I think that's what it is all the time. I think we see that there is never enough. Like even when I used to work in K through 12 in the classroom, it's never enough. You never have enough budget. You never have enough
Right.
free and reduced lunch meals. It's never enough, right? And so I think that is probably always the thing is because you said if I just had $50 more, I could do this. If I just had this more, I could have done that one more thing. And sometimes that. And for us, ours is a scholarship, so these kids have to apply. They have to submit their grades. They have to do everything else. And it's like, oh my gosh, she's amazing, or her grades, but it's that space of saying, unfortunately, not this time.
Right. You
So,
have to draw the line somewhere.
yeah. And you don't know if it's their third, not this time, right? And so you don't even know what the receiving is on the other end. And I think
Yeah.
that's also a part too in terms of how you weather through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you've built your company um, in culture, like based on culture, through the names that you've given your different blends, the name that you've given your company. How do you guard against being too niched into culturalism
Mhm.
um, versus being able to sell your coffee broadly?
Yeah, I think the first thing is having a good product.
Yeah.
We have a good product. The names are just decoration, for lack of better words, but we have a
Yeah.
great product. And so if you're focused on the product, those things come from here. None of the names are egregious. None of them are inflammatory. They're all celebratory. They're all positive. They're
Right.
all rooted in the beauty of something. So I think that's the first thing is make sure you have a good product. I think another thing you have to learn as entrepreneurs, everybody's not your customer. right?
Yes.
And that there are some people that are going to support you because there are some people who buy our coffee who don't even drink coffee. This one lady, and she buys every month. She's on a subscription. She does not even drink coffee, but she likes what we're doing for the scholarship students, and so that's why she supports us. She gives it away every month. I love that for her. I love that for us because she's allowing other people to hear about us by her giving
Right.
it away, right? But
Right.
she's supporting what we have going on. So that's that thing, right? But that does not mean that all of our customers will always be coffee drinkers,
Right.
right? That was something that showed me. There was another piece of that. It was a lot of people too were saying, "Hey, I like supporting women-owned businesses." That does not mean that all of those women are also women of color. So you have a lot of
Right.
people that want to be a part of the journey with you. I don't focus on being too niche. If you look at all of our blends, they have different categories. So Lord Baldwin celebrates LGBTQ plus IA community. The LeGrand Duck 1928 celebrates our veteran community. It's named after a veteran. We have the 64th in Tulsa, which is more focused on progression through darkness. So it's the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in Tulsa, Black Wall Street. So it's really the embodiment of unity, purpose, and community is what we try to do. And also telling the stories of individuals that you may not have heard of who are African American that are not rooted in slavery, that are not rooted in adversity, but are just beautiful stories of things that have taken place that you might not find in your typical history books.
Yeah, I love the one about the Paris nightclub.
Oh yeah, that's the LeGrand Duck, and that's one of our most popular blends. I'm like, what is it with these people who want to try a cognac flavored coffee at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning? But yes, that is one of our favorite ones.
Yeah, no, I love that story. That just was
Yeah,
that was a fun story for me. Yeah.
yeah.
What is the hardest part for you about being an entrepreneur?
In this era of being an entrepreneur, is being in front of the camera.
Oh,
I feel like in this era of entrepreneurships, people, not ships, but people want to know the founder.
yeah.
They want to see or get ready with me. They want to see behind the scenes. They want to see you going to me. And for me, who is a highly introverted, very private person, it pushes me day by day.
Yeah.
I can do a panel, I can do a podcast all day long, but just filming myself, editing myself, it's just different for me because when I went to school, I graduated in '07. You don't know who the founder is. You only know the product, right? I can't tell you who half of the founders are for a lot of these companies.
Right.
But as social media and entrepreneurship, you have to be able to ebb and flow. So that's something I'm challenging myself with right now. Is that another thing for us this year that's just been really hard, full transparency, has been tariffs. Every country that we import coffee from has been tariffs. Our bags come from China. We had a 146% tariff
Oof.
on that, it doesn't matter how much you save. It doesn't matter how much you budget with our account. It doesn't matter. Whatever margin you thought you had,
Yeah.
it's being eaten, right? And not only that, the cost of materials are also going up, right? Coffee prices are at their highest
Well,
they've been in 20
and I
plus years.
assume you import your beans as well, right?
Exactly. So you have the inflation of the coffee beans plus the tariff of them getting there. So you have two different things that you're working as. And it's been killing a lot of small businesses. It's hard. And for us, we really, see, you mentioned early niche, we had to like come down. We have one of our blends that I love, but the bean came from Brazil. After this run, we had to make a decision to say we don't need to carry this SKU anymore, just because the margin is too tight. And so as an entrepreneur, you have to make that hard decision. And I had to email those customers and say, hey, after this run, we're discontinuing this blend, right? It happens. We had email customers and say, hey, we have to do a price increase. We haven't done one in 3 years. We have to do a price increase.
Right. Right. Well,
and you pray that they stay.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of great messages behind it. So I'm happy.
You can't just continue to have your margins shrink with everything that's going on in the global economy.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is I tell people all the time, people will spend $30 on lip gloss and not think twice about it. They will. They're like, oh, about 30. I don't like them. I throw them away. They don't think about it. But coffee, that's a different customer. You have to sell them a little differently. You have to get them to buy into the idea that, this is more than $16 to get them on board with that as well, too.
I mean, that's true in really all food service. People just don't value high quality food products like I think they should. I mean, I like high quality food products, but it just seems like they don't. They value beauty products, they value the lip gloss or whatever, but maybe not the food products the way they should.
Yeah, I think as a society, we need to promote being just as healthy on the inside
Yeah,
as we are as beautiful on the outside, right?
I
It's like we're
agree.
specialty coffee. So we are a higher bean, like we carry Ethiopian and Sumatran beans, so we have a higher grade of bean that we carry. And when you're thinking about that, and as for ours were created because my sister's lactose intolerant, she has a
Mm,
soy and a nut allergy.
yeah.
So all of our blends were designed so that you can drink them in the absence of any milk-based creamers. So all of our blends are mixed
Ah,
origin and or they're flavored. So we're really trying to get people back to the true essence of coffee, but that means that we're picking a different bean, we're spending a different amount. So it works, but we just have to make sure we're continuously sharing that message.
interesting. So, have you kind of gotten to the point of success, or have you made it through the point of success that a lot of entrepreneurs go through where you get into chaos before you get your systems right? Or did you get systems before you got there?
I think we did both. We got systems, then we got then we had systems. So I was like, oh, we're killing it.
Yeah.
And then we got chaos
Yeah.
and realized that those systems we had before were not systems that can carry us to this next space, right? Once you go into big box retail, it's a whole different game.
Right.
Like it's just different. Once you're on other people's D2C platform channels, it's different than us just selling off of our website, right? And so I think we're in a chaotic, organized chaos, if that makes any sense, because it's like, okay, this is working today, but we're coming up on Black Friday. Is it still going to work? It's just kind of topsy turvy because, to be honest, everything is in flux. And so we're just really just weathering what that looks like.
Yeah. And so, how do you, as the founder, plan for the chaos and plan to get through the chaos and plan your new systems based on your new growth?
Identifying problems and gaps.
Yeah.
So one thing that we had, this is me just totally being transparent because I don't mind telling my own business. I can tell my business. I was too involved.
Mm.
I was too involved in way too many different places.
Yeah.
I needed to get out the way and trust the people that I hire. I used to do every demo that we had. If it was I'm driving 2 hours. I'm doing all of them. You will be burnt out. You will be tired. You will not be successful. You can't make good decisions. I tell people you cannot make good decisions when you're broken, when you're tired.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. And so I had to start offloading some of that stuff and trusting the people to actually be able to do it. Because I actually was causing the blockage in the system. And then also, what I do now is I only do things that take up 20% of my time that give me an 80% reward versus doing things that took up 80% of my time that give me a 20% reward, like mulling over a LinkedIn caption. Girl, it's not that deep. Like, move on.
Yeah.
Move on. Yeah.
Have you read the book Traction or EOS?
It's funny you say that. I was just on another podcast and I had a meeting with someone and they both recommended those books. So they're
Yes.
both in my book read for December.
Yes.
So I try to do different ones every month, but they're in my book read for December. So right now I'm doing the Atomic Habits.
Oh, that's a good one too. Well, I just finished reading Traction, and then EOS Life is same author. There's like, I don't know, 4 books or something in the series, but Traction is the main one. And it'll talk about that, about how to transition yourself to working on your business and getting your team in place. So, and getting your systems in place. So yeah, it'll be a good read for you.
I'm excited for it.
Were you able to form and grow your company just based on your internal growth, or did you have to raise capital?
We have not raised any capital. So we are fully bootstrap, hustle. We've won some grants, which have been a blessings, but we are solely bootstrap. There will be a time when we will start taking on capital, but to be honest, I wanted to know what I was doing first before I start soliciting other people's money. Like, let me mess up my own money first before I start borrowing your money and messing up your money. So I know other people haven't done it that way, but for me, I'm big on integrity. I would be up every night mulling myself at the fact that I lost Michelle's, investment capital. So for me, let me figure it out. But we are moving to that space. But as of right now, that's where we are.
I find it interesting though, because the statistics talk about, that private equity goes overwhelmingly to white men, and that women in general get I don't know what the exact stat is, but like 1% of private equity, and women of color get almost 0 of private equity dollars. And And that's just, it's such a, I mean, to say it's a shame is like an understatement, I guess,
Mhm.
and it seems like something that just really should change, especially for companies like yours that just, you're already successful, you're already having so much, growth in the market, and you have such a meaning to your company as well.
Yeah.
Um,
I think with that is the first thing. Yes, they get more capital, and then on top of that, the more their capital is loose. I mean, there's not as many strings attached to their
right,
capital,
right,
right? Like
right.
they get the money, and they get the opportunity to mess up, do all those kind of things. In order for you to have companies where you're hearing about them like that all the time, you have to have marketing dollars. And when you think of small companies, that's the last place we can see it, because I need to see I put out 10, I got back 12, right?
Yeah.
With marketing, you're just putting into an endless pit of I hope somebody comes and purchases it.
Mhm.
And so I just that's where you lean on your faith, and you just keep asking that the Lord position you in front of the right people, that they will see you and decide that they want to sow, or that they want to tell somebody, or even this holiday season that they want to get a corporate gift, a corporate gifting order.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. 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 So what's next for Ezra Coffee? Like where do you see your company in 5 years?
Oh, in 5 years, we'll have our brick and mortars. So we will be having
Oh,
some brick and mortars as well. We'll also have some new products. So I'm excited about that. We are looking into the K cup space. So I want us to
ooh,
move there. Exactly. So much
I
easier.
need your K
Uh,
cups.
yes. And that's when I was, I love you guys, but I want K cups. So I'm like, really? They're like, yes, girl, give me some K cups. I was
I
like,
don't know how to use a coffee machine.
you would be amazed at how many people don't. And I was just like, you just, okay, never mind. And so I think that that will definitely be a game changer for us is, the K cups, which
Yeah.
is why we're going to hard, because you need capital
Right.
to be able to do those
Right.
K
Because
cups. So that's one
you have to
thing.
pay the royalty to Keurig.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's pricey. So it's a lot that you
Girl,
have to
I'm a
go through the
lawyer. I know
process.
about these things.
Yeah, and I was telling somebody the whole Green Mountain Cure
Mhm.
copyright thing. To kind of, I was like, it's a thing. Like people don't know about it, but it's a thing. But so those would be some of the things that we're looking at, and so also to focusing on expanding our footprint, and being in more niche spaces where people can actually. I really want us to be able to be a company that employs second chance.
Um,
So second chance, not just for mistakes, but just sometimes you just need to start over. I have some friends who have divorced since the pandemic, and they are on their second life. And I want to be able to provide opportunities to women like that who maybe are stay-at-home moms. I just want to keep something that keep me at home. I just need something to do, but giving them second opportunities. So I really want our business continue to be community focused and really sit around second chance employment.
I like that. I like that because I have been a divorce lawyer for 30 years, and I'm kind of expanding myself in different directions. But from a nonprofit standpoint, I think women in transition are my calling, and so
Yeah.
yeah. So that second chance is big for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So lightning round.
Ooh, okay.
What content is influencing you right now? I know you already said you're a reader, so books, podcasts. Like I used to just ask the book question, but then so many people aren't readers anymore. But what content is influencing you right now?
Okay, so on Sunday mornings, content is my pastor Crosby at Wheeler Avenue Baptist in Houston, Texas. That's my in-person content. My day-to-day content from a podcast. I like Alex Romani. I also like Shelf Talks with Roberta. I also like How I Built This.
Oh, I like that one.
There's another one. It's called Journey to Launch. I like that podcast as well. So those are some of the ones that I enjoy listening to. And then there's a Side Hustle Pro. I like her as well too. I like to listen to podcasts. To be honest, this may sound. I want to hear about people's failures and how they were able to turn it around.
Yes.
I, I'm gonna mess up, but I need you to. I need to be prepared to how I deal with this mess up, right? So that's the one thing I want to have that one. So that was my podcast content, book content. I try to do a different one every month. Right now, I'm doing Atomic Habits. Next month, I have Traction in EOS. But what I really try to do is incorporate those things in the morning in my meditation time. There is a YouTube that I listen to. And sit on my patio at 7:30 and just let the Lord breathe on me and touch grass and kind of reset my day with that as well. So my point is I try to have content come in through hearing, seeing, speaking in different forms that they address and kind of work with me in different ways.
That was one of the things whenever I heard you speak at the Women in Business Summit, that you're so intentional about how you set up and structure your day and how you structure what comes into you. And I really was impressed with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think because we're so glued to our phones and we're so glued to that, we're not really even focusing on the subconscious, right? Like you can wake up and be having an amazing day. And to be honest, I started this during the pandemic. And then you seeing somebody get killed or somebody's wrong, and it just throws your day off. As an entrepreneur, most of the time I'm waking up in a panic sometimes because like what email, what didn't get done, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can't think because my system is just rattled.
Yes.
So I really need to like sit. Let me thank God for everything that he's done. Let me ground myself in that. And like I said at the conference, let me do everything I don't want to do first so I can have a really good day. The first thing I don't want to do is go to Pilates. So let me do everything I don't want to do now. And then I cuss the whole way there. But I know I need to be there. And I think that will help you because you make better decisions when you're in a more peaceful space.
Yes. Yeah. And then the feet and straps happens and then it's over.
You know?
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. Have you ever read the book Eat the Frog?
I haven't even heard of the book Eat the Frog.
So it's not a new book, it's an older book, but it basically Eat the Frog means that you do the thing you don't want to do first. So it's by a guy named Brian Tracy. But it's about doing the thing you don't want to do first, and then it's out of the way, and you can move on to all the other things that are fun in your day. So
yeah, I feel like I accomplished something, and also too, I know the stuff that I don't want to do. It'll be on my to-do list for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
because I'm just gonna keep pushing it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, last question. None of us know when our last day is going to be. So if you knew that today was your last day, what's the one word that you would want to be known for as your legacy?
Giver.
I love that.
Giver.
I love that.
I mean, you can't be God-given. So I would say that would what I want people to know, like through the scholarship programs, through our senior capstone programs, through the food banks that we support, giver. That would always be the one for me.
I love that. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm honored. I love your company. I love the mission. I love the purpose and everything you've built. You're just such an inspiration.
Thank you so much for having me. And I appreciate even just being able to be in your space. So it's all good on this way as well, too.
Just a mutual love society we're having here.
It is.
All right. Thank you, Jessica Taylor.
Absolutely.